This land that you have entrusted to us, we commit back to you and pray that you would restore and heal us. Heal our land, O Lord. Heal our land, O Lord. We stand guard and pray in the power of your name. Heal our land, O Lord. Heal our land, O Lord. Heal our land, O Lord. Stir up repentance and bring true forgiveness. Heal our land, O Lord.
Well, good day, everyone, and welcome to another Canada Awakening Healing the Land telecast, where we are seeking to address the social and the economic and the environmental and cultural issues facing so many of the remote, isolated communities in northern Canada today. Welcome to this episode number 11. I'd like to acknowledge I've been away for a few weeks due to some medical issues, but I want to assure you that the prognosis is good. And I'm expecting to be able to come back stronger than ever, but I do have a few procedures ahead yet. But it's been a blessing to work together with Robert and Marty McLean, who have taken the last 4 episodes, and they couldn't be here with me today, but they will also be coming back in the future, along with a lot of other First Nations authorities that we'll be featuring on this telecast. But on today's telecast, episode number 11, we have a very special treat for you, in that we want to share the keynote speaker at a prayer breakfast that Marty, McLean, and I organized at the Provincial Legislature just last June the 21st, right on the National Indigenous Peoples Day. And we had significant leaders there from the Province of Manitoba, and the main speaker was Tami Campeau, who was formerly an addict and a homeless person, and she shares the story of how her life is being transformed through the power of a personal faith. So I know you're going to look forward to this. We'll be playing the excerpt from this, right from the prayer breakfast meeting that we had right at the Provincial Legislature last June the 21st. The National Indigenous Peoples Day prayer breakfast was held at the Manitoba Provincial Legislature on June the 21st, 2023. This event was organized by, as I mentioned myself, of Canada Awakening Ministries here in Nivervile, and also by Marty McLean, pastor of the Encounter Life Ministries Fellowship in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And those in attendance at this prayer breakfast included people like the Lieutenant Governor of Manitoba, Anita Nivervile. We had the Premier, who at that time was Premier Heather Stephenson, and also at that time the opposition leader, Wab Kinew, was there. He's presently the Premier of Manitoba. We also had the Mayor of Winnipeg, Scott Gillingham, was there. We had chiefs and grand chiefs from the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, and some 90 other prominent Manitoba leaders and dignitaries. So, as mentioned, the keynote speaker was Tami Campeau, who is an Indigenous mother with a history of addiction and homelessness. She was sleeping at times under the bridges in the inner city of Winnipeg, Manitoba, and there's so many in that plight today, and our hearts and our prayers go out to them. And so Tami shares her story in overcoming these challenges through a personal faith. Her testimony at the Manitoba Legislature on June the 21st follows, and you'll see on the recording she'll be introduced by Pastor Marty McLean. Enjoy this clip.
Tami has overcome so many obstacles in her life, and one of the things that she had at heart was to share her story, her testimony. And she also shared at one point, she was praying, asking the Lord, where can I share my testimony? Where can I share this? And I don't know, it must have been that same day or something like that. She said that all of a sudden Pastor Marty called her and said, Tami, I have an opportunity for you to share. We're going to be having a gathering at the Legislative Building. Said all the leaders of Manitoba will be there, and we'd like for you to share your testimony. And she's like, wow, I asked the Lord to share, but I didn't know it was going to be that big. She's so honored to share with you today. So clap your hands together once again as Tami comes.
Hi, good morning. As my pastor said, my name is Tami Campeau, and I'm so honored to be here to share my testimony, because everything I've been through, I wanted to use my story to help people who are also where I was almost 2 years ago. My whole life, my childhood life, I grew up in the church, and I love God, and when I was 12 years old, my life changed. Sorry. My family fell apart, and I didn't know what to do. And, sorry, just give me a second. Anyways, at 12 years old, I started smoking and using drugs and alcohol, and I was in these streets, the West End and the North End. And I didn't know, what was gonna happen, everything I had to learn. My parents separated, and at the age of 13, I overdosed on pills. I wasn't meaning to try, kill myself. I was just experimenting, and I had amnesia. Sorry. Give me a second. Okay. And after that, my life, it just kept going on. Drugs, alcohol, running in these streets. And at the age of 16, I got pregnant with my daughter, Kiana. I named her Kiana Blue Sky Campeau. And I was trying to do good in my life at that time. I was singing on the powwow trail, and I quit drinking, and I was going to school for a couple years. But when I turned 18, after I met a man, and spent 8 years together, just not doing good, just drinking. I got into smoking crack. And when I was 20 years old, I got pregnant with my second child. And I didn't stop using stuff, and he was born addicted. And that's when I lost my children for the first time to CFS. It was hard. But I just continued to do what I was doing. There wasn't much supports back then. CFS just told me, do. There wasn't much help. So I just kept doing what I was doing, and I visited my kids from time to time for years. And again, when I was 22, I got pregnant again with my third child. And the same thing, I didn't stop. But I didn't do that much with him. And I gave him to his grandparents. because I didn't want to go through the system again and them taking him, because I never once got asked if I wanted help. I did go to numerous treatment centers here in Winnipeg and in Kenora and Peguis, but I guess I never found what I was looking for there, because I just got out and did the same thing. I always wanted to get better for my children. They were the reason I was still alive. Sorry. After me and my ex broke up, I met another man, and I got pregnant with my fourth child, Paige. I quit what I was doing for my pregnancy that time. But again, after, because I wasn't helping myself or, getting what I needed to off my chest, I fell back into drinking, and I ended up giving my daughter to my mom, who she's been raising ever since, even till this day. And, after that, I met another man, and I had another baby. I always ask God, to this day, all these things I've done, if I can be forgiven, because I have so many failed relationships, and I tried. But drugs and alcohol were a big part of my failures. My daughter's dad, he tried to kill me in front of my two children. And that's when I lost custody of her. And then I was introduced to meth about over 10 years ago. Meth. The meth and down world in this city, and I'm guessing all over, it needs to be helped, because I was there. I lived on these streets. I was evicted from most places I lived. I was so far gone in my head, I didn't even care. I stopped my whole life trying to get my kids back. About 5 years into my meth addiction, I got pregnant with my daughter, and I quit. I quit for a little over a year. My daughter's father, he started drinking, and that made me relapse again. I ended up losing my daughter when she was 5 months old. And for over 2 years, I didn't even care. Inside my head, I was just shut down. He went to jail for 4 years, and I didn't even care, you know, and but all through these years, you know, I had my mom. My mom, she is a praying mom, and she always prayed over us, her children, and I always went home and she was always there. With my kids, you know, like asking me to come back and help her. But I couldn't. So for many years after that, I stayed in these streets. I was shooting meth into all over my body. It was hard, you know, and I was trying to get help. But the process of getting help was so long that I didn't even try anymore. There was a night over 2 years ago when I was living under the bridge. I lived under the Maryland Bridge for almost 3 years in a tent with my boyfriend. For years, I survived on selling drugs, picking garbage cans, finding stuff. You know, I was under there just losing hope in my life. Losing hope about, you know, how come I can't stop? Nobody even cares anymore, and nobody ever showed me they cared. After I said that out loud, that same day somebody showed me that they cared. At a thrift store I went to every day to buy clothes so I could change. This lady, she gave me a pair of clothes for free because I only had enough for one pair for me and my boyfriend. I was like, you know, I was like, what? And after that, I was done binning. There was another time. And I just said to myself, you know, I feel hungry. I should go try find something to eat. All of a sudden at juniors, this man, he came chasing after me. And I had my cart and my bike. And he said, hey, stop. And I was like, what? He's like, wait. He told me. And he came running back with some French fries that he gave me. And I was like, you know, I was like, what? And I remembered my mom, you know, like in God. I said, he actually heard me. And after that, you know, like stuff just happened. And I just started feeling lost in this, like really lost, like I didn't want to be there anymore. I wanted to get out, but I didn't know how. I wanted to stop. So I was under the bridge there crying to my boyfriend, telling him how sick I was of living under that bridge. And the next day, I found out I had COVID. And I went to the hospital, and you know, they put me in this apartment building, isolation building for 10 days. On the third day, I woke up. I sat there, I called my mom. I told her where I was. And then I was scared. I was alone. But on the 5th day, I was sitting there, and I looked around where I was sitting, you know, in an apartment, like a bachelor suite. And I called my mom and I told her, Mom, I just realized where I am. I said, I'm inside, you know, like, did God bring me out? Did God bring me out, you know? And she said, yeah. To show me, you know, what I could have. To show me, you know, a bathroom, a kitchen, a TV. So I told my mom that day, you know, I'm not going back underneath that bridge when I leave here. I'm not. So I went to her. On the 10th day, I left, and I went to her house. On September 9th, 2021 is when I got sober. And I thank God every day for the signs, you know, that He showed me when I was ready to give up. I thank God every day for the church, you know, I go to. I thank God for my life every day. Since then, in this past year, I got all my children out of CFS. I had a baby. He's going to be 1 year old in Canada Day. And my mom is here with me today. She's always been my big support, and, you know, like, she's helping me with all my children still. I have 7 children now. I take them to church with me whenever I can. And, you know, God, He is so good. Every day I thank Him. My life, I wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for my mom's prayers, my pastor for inviting me here. I thank him so much, you know. I want to help people. I want to go somewhere and help people that, you know, that are still struggling. I have 3 brothers out there who are still struggling, homeless, and on drugs. You know, it's hard. But, oh yeah, okay. When I got guardianship of my kids last year in October, when CFS told me, because I've been involved with CFS since I was 19 years old, when they told me that they didn't have, like, to worry about me anymore because they see everything, you know, like, I tried to go to a treatment center almost 2 years ago, and I left 15 days later because something told me, just go home and be with your children. Trust me. And since then I have, you know, God delivered me from smoking. I quit smoking when I was pregnant with my son. He delivered me from temptation. He delivered me from all that stress I used to feel about life. He delivered me, you know, anytime I feel stress, I pray, and I get that, you know. I don't ever feel like leaving my children. I just love being home with them, you know. And I thank him every day, and I thank you guys for, you know, listening to my story, and I hope this helps somebody. I hope I can help somebody, and I hope my hope for this is so great. Like, when I started going to my church, I heard about David Harper and what he was doing, and I want to be a part of that. So I hope I get to be, you know, and I pray about it. I'm not too sure how long I've been up here for, but that's my story. Thank you.
Thank you, Tami. Thank you for sharing your story. I want to acknowledge also her mother that's here. Maybe just stand up. Mama Campeau, there she is.
Heal our land, O Lord. Heal our land, O Lord.
It has become more apparent that these things need to be resolved and that the political process has failed us. I believe there is something missing, which is the spiritual element.
It is the children of God that will carry the message to the political powers of this continent and other continents in order for them to understand what we must do as human beings in order for us to be healthy again.
Establish your kingdom throughout this nation and heal our land.